Welcome to King Said So, Africa's one land, one language, one currency, one army on King Said So. Africans can unite. Your Pan-Africanist podcast. Enjoy.
So, I thought I should just update you on this. Izolo was the 10th of October. As you know, that South African Human Rights Commission summoned us to court, and we went to court. And after court, we then decided with some patriots, let's go and support Bafana Bafana, because there was a soccer match between Zimbabwe and South Africa in Moses Mabhida Stadium. And we went, and I must say, I sat there and I observed the attitude of South Africans towards foreigners. Guys, we are sitting on a time-ticking bomb. Now, it even went to a point where South Africans were like, now, this was because of the attitude, the arrogance. Some Zimbabweans bad, guys. And South Africans are like, not here. That was the attitude that I've observed is all. South Africans are hurtful. And, if government is not going to do anything about this immigration crisis we are facing as a country, we are on a time-ticking bomb. It's going to explode anytime soon. And I don't think government is ready for that. But I thought, let me just share my experiences. Since I was with the masses, a stadium, and I sat there and I observed. But yeah, that's what it is.
Habari ma Africa, mimi ni King, ninafuraha kukutana na wewe. Asante kwa kutazama King Said So. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back at it again with another one, and this time around we're talking about Operation Dudula, March and March, those organizations, and I want to also add the comments of the former president of South Africa, Mr. I am an African, Thabo Mbheki. It's a very interesting episode. It's a brand new week. We are starting now with Sibiya being at the commission. It's going to be crazy this whole week. Some of the things that we're going to hear are going to blow our minds, because some of the things that we have ought to believe are going to be challenged, and then we have to apply our minds intellectually to analyze everything that is said there at the commission, at the ad hoc committee. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this week at the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture, we are expecting that bricks will be starting to be delivered at the site, and the wall will start going up at the site. So where the site is allocated of the school, the water is a little bit far, so the gentlemen have to drive and go and fetch the water. Not far in a literal sense, a few meters, like something like more than 1,500 meters. 1,500 meters is like 3 rounds around the track field, around the athletics center. So it's about 1,500 meters, maybe less than that. Let's say 1,000 to round it off, where the water has been faced and everything. So what I want to do this week, I want to purchase overalls for the gentlemen that are working on the site. The finance group at Paseta said not yet, because the finances are not in favor. You guys still remember we are chasing down the amount of the labor of which we are this close now, thanks to some people who have donated this past weekend. And I want to buy the guys overalls so that they can not work with their own clothes and stuff like that. So only you can assist me. I went to Pep Store, which is the cheapest shop where I could go to over the weekend. The overall is 330 rand. So for those who want to bless the guys in the field, it's only 330 rands. It's only 6 guys. So it's like what, 1,900 and something. Now 1,900 and something. So we can bless them. we can bless them with overalls. I said I will I will go speak to the finance group. The finance group said not yet. So I'm speaking to you, Paseta family out there. Please, let's purchase them. I will purchase one. You purchase the other 5, and then we are finished. We those guys can look good there. They are left only with about 2 weeks with the task that they are doing, but I think it will still be an advantage and a kind gesture to show them that we appreciate the work that they are doing. If you haven't already, please send a 50 Rand contribution to the Pan-African School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. We are building a school here in South Africa. We are building a school everywhere in Africa. The project that is currently running is in South Africa. So we are in Liberia, in Uganda, in Angola, in Namibia, in Lesotho, and here in South Africa. We want to make sure that we build schools that will unite the African children of tomorrow. So thank you so much for that. Visit our website, www.paseta.africa, or just type Paseta on Google, you will find us. Okay, let me get into this thing. Yaga Uzandile Dudula, the queen of Operation Dudula. She has been leading this organization for some time now, taken over from our brother Untlantla who was very vocal and everything, and Ulax was caught up in a EFF versus Dudula type of a thing. And because Ulax is so articulate, so well articulated, he found himself fighting the EFF and going to court. The EFF got him arrested for raiding one of the fighters' house and everything. You guys know the story after that. And then Ulax said, no, Dudula is turning into a political movement, and he cannot endorsed it, so he left Dudula. So that's what he said. But Uzandile Dudula said, no, we chased him away because we saw that he was getting chatarach, was getting busy with nonsense, and we could not see eye to eye with some certain crucial matters of the operation. We made him spokesperson because he was very well known, but he got out of line, and then we got him out. So Uzandile took over, and she has been running with Dudula, I think, ever since last year or something like that. Yeah, ever since last year, and doing a good job. Well, she was running it, but Ulax was the face of it. Okay, let me correct myself on that regard. Yes, so now they've got an issue with the Human Rights Commission. I think they have that case was struck off the roll. It reads as follows according to Operation Dudula's X account. It says the application by the Human Rights Commission for an interdict against Operation Dudula and the March and March has been struck off the roll with cost. Very interesting. With cost in the Durban High Court due to lack of agency. Lack of agency. Why lack of agency? They say the judge, David Such, says the application was an abuse of court processes after the court heard that the commission already started to prepare the application in July, but only served the papers on Operation Dudula and March on March on Monday. So the court said, no, man, you guys are abusing the court system and everything. And it was dismissed with cost. So they paid the lawyers of this organization. I wonder where this organization about Dudula, Never March and March are getting money for courts and everything. But anyway, that's none of my business. My issue that I wanted to address on this video is she said, no, after we went to court, you were listening to her. She said, after we went to court, we decided, no, man, let's go and watch Zimbabwe versus South Africa. And before I say that, let me say some of the attacks to Uzandile is unfair on social media. Some of the attacks I see, people are, I don't know, man. It's South Africans, man, and African people in general. Like the attacks from Zimbabweans to this lady, some attacks from South Africans to this lady, in terms of physical appearance and what. For me, when you start doing those things, lying about who she had children with, lying with the family, saying sister said this, she's born of Zimbabwean parents. When you start doing those things, you have eliminated yourself in my mind to for me to take you serious, because of the reasoning capacity is gone. When you can't say anything good about, when you can't debate King Said So intellectually, and you start saying, you with a big nose, or you with the fat glasses or anything, then I know you have stopped being factual. You just now want to make your opinions right about us. But so anyway, that's what I said. That's what I wanted to say. The attacks on her, some of the things that I see on social media is really unfair to the Queen. Anyways. But now, I want to address the issue of saying she went to the stadium. And in the stadium, she says the attitude towards South Africans, or the attitude of South Africans towards foreigners is not good. She said it's like a waiting, ticking bomb. So some Zimbabweans are arrogant, bayadelela. And some Zimbabweans, she said bayadelela. My queen, you are at a soccer stadium. What do you expect? There's two teams on the field. There's one's favoring this team and other one's favoring that team. I want us to stop having this mentality of just everything that we see, we want to turn it into us versus them. There's two teams there. When you go to Kaizer Chiefs versus Pirate, you will think South Africans hate each other. You will think, because other people get physical at the stadium because of the love of the teams that are playing on the ground. Now, if you are going to go to hospitals and kick people out, you want to go to clinics and schools, kick people out. Now, what are you saying? You're going to start gatekeeping who goes into soccer stadiums, in sport entertainment places. No, you can't do that. So what she's trying to do is push a narrative that the attitudes of people in stadiums are, hey, we've been to soccer matches. We've been to everything. Some of us have been to Eastern Cape for boxing fights. Eastern Cape, if you don't know, is the boxing hub of South Africa. If you go to Eastern Cape and you go and fight there, my guy, good luck. Good luck. It's difficult to win in the Eastern Cape. And you will think that the Xhosa people hate South Africans or they are tribalists because you are in the Eastern Cape and you are there to fight them. So what do you expect people to do in stadiums? It's stadiums, my people. So I wanted to say, no, that was a very weak... that was a very weak argument for her to make to try and justify this thing of us versus them. We must not subscribe to that, ladies and gentlemen. She is the ticking bomb. She is the ticking bomb. Now you want to say, as if all South Africans were in that stadium. The attitude of South Africans against foreigners. No, don't include us there. That was a soccer stadium. There are two teams that are playing. You're going to have people that are very passionate about soccer, that don't even want a Pirate supporter to sit next to them. That's why you will see in stadiums they are divided. They are divided. Only those who sit with each other probably came together if they are from different teams. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Leave your thoughts on the comment section and tell me what you think about that. For me, it was a very weak argument. For me, she's not very well in articulating some of the points, and that narrative that she's trying to push there, that South Africans are very, the attitude of South Africans towards foreigners is a ticking time bomb. For me, it's not right, but you guys will correct me on the comment section. I want to add the comment of President Thabo Mbheki. Mr. Thabo Mbheki, I have to say this before I play this clip. But Thabo Mbheki, for me, he's not one of the presidents that I like so much. You guys know I like Zuma. Zuma is my best president. I put Jacob Zuma above Nelson Mandela in terms of presidency. I think Nelson served one term. But in terms of what a president did for African people in South Africa, for me, Zuma is number one, and Nelson is number two, Thabo is number three, and Cyril is hitting dead last after Kgalema Motlanthe. yeah, for me, even Halima is better than Cyril. Oh my God, why was Cyril is still our president? I don't know why, but anyways, we will see. Yeah, things will work. Them. I always believe that time always works things out. So things will work out for the better South Africans. Very soon, we're gonna get a time bomb and a time an announcement that is going to shock South Africans there from the ANC very soon. We've got let me not say anything, but an announcement is coming. An announcement is coming. Get ready, get ready. But anyways, Thabo Mbheki, I'm surprised in Thabo Mbeki's spirit of African unity. I don't want to say spirit in Pan-Africanism because that's something different. And I strongly believe, I sometimes see it on the comment section that Pan-Africanism, that means pro-African, is misunderstood by most people. I don't know what Pan-Africanism means to other people, but sometimes I would even run away and just say black consciousness of African unity. Even some people don't want to hear that word of African unity because they think they say when you say African unity, you mean Africans must unite in South Africa. That's how South African thinks. No, yeah, we must unite, but not here. Go and unite somewhere else, but don't come and unite here. So we're having that issue, but that is our generation. There's a lot of hate towards our African brothers across the borders that we have, and that is why we have to build the next generation. We have to build a different mentality from them, and that is what we are doing in Paseta. That's why you see Paseta is focusing on building the school in every African country, so that we can fine tune the mindset of the children of tomorrow, so that they can think differently in terms of, you guys know our 5 pillars, in terms of historical studies, in terms of economics, in terms of technology, in terms of agriculture, but the most important one also in terms of military training. It's a military science, rather, the way we describe it at Paseta, so that our continent can unite behind those pillars and make sure that we become the best continent as a country, as Africa, than China, than India, than the United States, and we can be the big boss of the world. It's very important that in our lifetime or in the next generation or two that we experience that Africa is leading the world in technology, in agriculture, in manufacturing, in all of those things. Is very important. So anyway, Thabo Mbeki speaks very well. Every time when he speaks about African unity, I'm impressed. I'm like, he gets it. He gets it, especially as a person who has a president who says you cannot blame all the problems of South Africa towards foreigners. You cannot say every problem that we have here in crime, drugs, and whatever is towards foreigners. Home Affairs, we are the ones who are distributing these documents to some of our brothers and everything. So we've got a role to play also as South Africa, and we have to take accountability that there is, I don't want to say some of us, we also participate in those crimes at a large extent. We actually allow those crimes to continue. You find a supervisor, an inspector who's not doing their job. You find mayors who are not doing their job. You find politicians that don't want to do your job. You find corrupt policemen. You find corrupt courts. You find all of those things, and mostly they are led by South Africans who are not, I don't want to say who are not patriotic to South Africa, but who don't do the right thing. They just don't do the right thing. And those problems, the problems of the country will always be felt the hardest by the poorest of the poorest before going up into the ladder. So I want to play what Thabo Mbeki said about it. He says this thing called Operation Dudula. He calls Operation Dudula a thing. And that was very funny for me to note. But let's just quickly listen to what the former president, Thabo Mbeki, said about Dudula.
That understanding among our people, which is very, very old, that South Africa is part of the continent, South Africa is part of the African diaspora. That's part of what hurts me when I see things like Operation Dudula. It hurts. we can't position ourselves as though we're enemies of other Africans. It's not right. There are problems we've got to solve in this country, and we can't say those problems are solved by people who have migrated to South Africa. We've caused problems. But I'm saying that's where we come from. And Tiosoga was saying, rather than perishing, Africa will rise. That even the Bible was saying that. So I think that for our foundation, if I make a claim to say that's our mother and father, what Tiosoga said 175 years ago, we must also ask ourselves, what are we doing to fulfill this vision that Soga had, that Africa will rise? Because I think as we look around the continent, starting with South Africa, there is much to worry about. There's a lot to worry about.
Yeah. And you know, when the president says South Africa is part of the continent and diaspora, I understand it very well. But I don't understand why is it that these politicians have not chosen integration with the neighboring countries around, or even started that conversation on a very serious note. I've always maintained that Namibia was northwest South Africa. It was part of South Africa up until 1993. It was one country. Up until 1993, we were the same thing. Same place, same everything. Botswana, same thing. Lesotho, same thing. Swaziland. I think with that suggestion that I have of the advanced integrated border system, I believe that the countries can keep their own sovereignty and independence, but still being integrated in terms of systems. That's what I believe. Integrate the system first. Integrate the police system. It's very important to integrate the police department so that police in South Africa can go and perform an arrest in Lesotho, for example, and vice versa. They can be Lesotho police. If a South African has committed a crime in Lesotho and that South African runs back to South Africa, the intelligent hears that, okay, this criminal that we are looking for is in Johannesburg and his name is King said so. From Lesotho, they can come and pursue that criminal in South Africa and arrest them, and it will be allowed. Advanced integrated border system. That's what I've been singing for the longest of time, if you've been watching King Says So. So we need to integrate that. Not only that, we need to integrate our home affairs. By integrating, you don't have to make everything one, but you can have a separate home affairs, but you can have a combined one where both home affairs have got equal access of information of both countries. The system has to be developed into that level where it is safe and cannot be abused, or criminal activities cannot happen in terms of hacking and everything. But I believe that South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, and Swaziland and Lesotho can easily integrate, because of the languages spoken, because of the culture of those people. There's nothing that is going to be more difficult. You can argue again with Mozambique. You can argue the same with Zimbabwe. You can argue it, but Zimbabwe and Mozambique is a little bit different. But you can argue because of the numbers in their countries. The numbers are very high, so it's not going to be easy to integrate with those countries. But with Botswana, less than 4 million. Namibia less than 4 million, Lesotho less than 4 million, Swaziland less than 3 million. Why would it be difficult to integrate systems? Understand? Again, the system of border patrol you need to integrate that system so that arrest can be performed on the border and across the border. I honestly believe that that could solve some of our problems that we are having in terms of that. And the documentation of people and the free movement of people also must be handled differently. That's what I believe. So I agree with what Thabo Mbheki is saying, ladies and gentlemen. I also don't subscribe to the issue that you take all the foreigners out of South Africa, we will not have crime, we will not have murders, we will not have. When you look at the statistics in terms of who is performing the crimes, of course, as we are in South Africa, our number will be high. We also South Africans, we know we commit a lot of crimes ourselves. We know that it's something that we have to fix also by ourselves, for ourselves also. So yeah. Another thing that he said with Thabo Mbheki that is very important, he says, rather than perishing, Africa is rising. I honestly believe that. I honestly believe that. And I think we're always telling the bad stories in Africa. That's why we don't have a good image of what Africa is. And that's what the world looks at us as beggars, as people who are always seeking for aid and all of those things, people who are not military strong, people who don't have control of their economy. That is what the media is putting out there. But when you look at almost all the countries in Africa, and I'm saying it all on purpose, almost all the countries in Africa, there is so much improvement over the last 10 years. Very few where you can say this one over the last 10 years has not built any infrastructure, has not improved this and this. And these are the war-torn countries like Sudan and Congo, but still there's some improvements there. It's just we are not good in marketing the good things that are happening in our continent. I find that very strange, and it is our job. That is why newsstream media is very important. Podcasting and blogging and all of those things are very important, because we need to put the word out that things are not as bad as you guys think that they are. Because if you live your life on TikTok and you live your life on X, you will think that South Africa is falling apart. Everything is finished. But there's still hope, and there's still development, and there's still people that are fighting. There's still citizens that are wanting improvement in our country. I just want to hear your comments regarding that. So yes, Africa is rising, and yes, there is a lot to worry about, but solutions are coming, and we need to be honest about that. It's Monday, and you guys know that I love Mondays so much. Mondays are a reflection of a new beginning for me. Some people, when you watch the news, did not make it through the weekend. People have been shot at taverns. People have been, shocking things that are happening just randomly, and you ask yourself, why are we still spared? We are spared because we still have a purpose to fulfill in our lives. Let's continue with our loved ones. Let's continue to mend the net in terms of our family structure. Let's continue to build Baseta. Let's continue to support organizations that take our communities forward and all those things. So yeah, this week that's the message I want to leave with you guys. Please keep your head up, but everything is gonna be all right. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray. But after you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace in Pan-Africanism. I salute you.